Alrighty guys, and welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at Freddy Krueger and why I put him as the 4th best killer in Dead by Daylight. Originally I thought I would put Michael Myers in the 4th best spot, but after a lot of testing, a lot of playing around on both Freddy and Myers, I've actually put Myers in 6th place. Now, why do I put Freddy so high to the top? If you're unaware of the top 5 killers, in my opinion, you'll be able to see them in the videos prior to this, but Freddy is number 4 in my opinion, and here is why. Well, Freddy's kit applies multiple different things. First of all, he can teleport to whichever generator around the board he wants. He can also fake a teleportation if he so chooses to also. Now, what can Freddy do? While survivors are asleep, not while they're awake, he can put fake blood, or he can put blood on the ground, or a fake pallet. Fake pallet requires add-ons, and the blood is 10 times better. What is a fake pallet? A fake pallet is basically a pallet that's not real. A survivor can only see it while they're asleep, and if a survivor pulls it down, it splashes with blood, and it does nothing. Therefore, Freddy will know if it's a fake pallet and be able to lunge through it. Like I said, he needs a brown add-on to be able to use that, or different add-ons throughout his entire kit. As you can see, there is one right here, which allows him to replace Dream Snares with Dream Pallets. I personally prefer Dream Snares. Dream Snares is very, very devastating on an aggressive playing Freddy Krueger. So, while survivors are asleep, they basically can receive penalties based off using add-ons. If you're not using add-ons, they will not receive any form of penalty being asleep. They will only be susceptible to your blood pools. Now, you can place a blood pool in about 0.5 seconds, providing there is enough area on the ground. Much like a clown bottle, except the clown bottle covers a larger area. It hinders you for 15% for a couple of seconds. For 2 seconds, I believe. It feels like forever, though, I can tell you that, but it is approximately 2 seconds. This being said, Freddy can put 10 of them on the ground. He has no penalty for keep placing them. He receives 25 devious points every time he places one on the ground. Now, a really good Freddy will place 1 per loop and get the pallet out of the way. A really bad Freddy will place probably about 4 of them, 5 of them at a pallet, and then not realize you rotated away. Now, what makes Freddy the most devastating, underrated, powerful killer in DBD? I'm not sure he's underrated anymore. I'm sure other people have made videos on why he's very strong, but let me explain to you. So basically, Freddy has a heartbeat which you can hear. It is a 32-meter heartbeat. He moves at 115% movement speed. He is very short. Because he's very short, it looks like he's moving faster than he is, and it looks like his lunge is longer. I can confirm he has the same length lunge as the Trapper, as the Billy, as everyone in the game. There is one killer with a longer lunge, and that is Michael Myers, prior to the fact that Michael Myers is in tier 3. So because he's so short, as opposed to the Trapper, a lot of people think he covers more distance, etc. And it can be very hard to mind game him, because he can hide his light, twist his camera, and then go for a crazy M1. People underestimate going around jungle gyms because he's short. They don't realize he has bloodlust, or he can catch up just as fast as a Trapper, because they think he's further back than he actually is. Okay, so while a survivor falls asleep, it takes 1 minute for a survivor to fall asleep. A survivor then has to find a clock around the map, and if they talk to the clock, yep, it's as good as it sounds. They have to land skill... No, they don't have to land skill checks. It'll take about 2 seconds, and then they'll wake up. They'll have 90 seconds where they can't fall asleep unless they are hit by Freddy Krueger. Every time Freddy hits a survivor, they fall asleep. This being said, a survivor can choose to miss a skill check, such as a healing skill check, to wake up the person who is asleep. They can wake each other up by clicking their fingers above each other's head and clapping. That'll wake them up as well. Or they can fail a generator skill check. That'll also wake them up. Now, the thing about Freddy that makes him so strong is while you're asleep, you will hear Freddy's lullaby, but you will not hear his heartbeat. His lullaby does get louder the closer he gets, but it's a very faint difference, and it can put people off if they can't see him. He is also permanently in the dream world. The dream world makes things harder to see. When a survivor is asleep, they glow a nice light blue color, so you can see them pretty easily, especially if they're trying to hide in plain sight. However, if they're not asleep, it can be very difficult to see them. Old Freddy used to have to put people to sleep using an ability. Now, new Freddy does not have to do that. Freddy can be seen while both in the dream state and not in the dream state. He has all these different add-ons to change quite a lot of things, but let's talk about his build first of all. This is the build I recommend on Freddy Krueger as the best Freddy Krueger build in the game, depending on how good you are. Now, there are a lot of honorable mentions, and there are a lot of other builds I can highly recommend, but this here is the safest build. Sure, you can run Devour Hope, you can run Haunted Ground, you can run Surge, you can run Surveillance, but we'll talk about these builds in a minute. Save the best for last, but this is the most safest for how good value you get out of it, so you won't need add-ons with this. You're running Ruin. Ruin basically means if a survivor misses a great skill check and lands a good, the generator will be regressed 5% of what is completed. It takes 80 seconds to do a generator. If it's at 79.9 seconds done and the survive lands are good, it'll go back 4 seconds. It'll pause all productivity for approximately 1 second, 1.5 seconds. So you'll notice a lot of survivors that miss a skill check will let go of a Jenny and jump straight back on it so they can get the productivity straight away. It also pauses productivity for every player on the generator for that period of time. If a survivor chooses to miss a skill check, they will also receive a large penalty, much like Lullaby, but not as much. They'll receive like a 5-6% penalty for missing a skill check, and they'll wake up and they'll give the killer a sound notification. So we got Ruin to stall the game. We've also got Pop Goes the Weasel. Pop Goes the Weasel is going to allow me to kick a generator and make it go back 25% of what is completed on it. It can be absolutely lethal, especially when it comes down to Freddy. Remember how I told you Freddy can teleport to generators? Unlike the Demogorgon, who can teleport anywhere where they want on the board, provided they have put a tunnel there, Freddy can only teleport to generators. Therefore, Thrilling Tremor is the best kind of situational awareness perk you can get on Freddy. A lot of people would say barbecue and chili. No, Tremor, because you can teleport to Jennies. That being said, people will be like, you can't teleport to a sealed Jenny for 16 seconds. Yeah, but a survivor can't work on it, and the one Jenny that isn't sealed is the Jenny I'm going to be teleporting straight to kick with Pop Goes the Weasel. The teleportation basically means Freddy will be doing this, the generator will start spewing out blood, and an illusion of Freddy will be coming out of the ground in blood. Freddy will then appear, and then be able to move. Alternatively, Freddy can bait this action by charging it and letting go of his ability at the last second, and he gets a little bit of a penalty, and he can do it again later. Therefore, survivors could have ran and panicked, and Freddy could not have even came in the first place, so keep that in mind. He can make these kind of mind game plays too. A very common used trick from Freddy will be make it look like you're appearing at a generator and come round the corner while the survivors are running away from the generator, then M1 the survivor as a little bit of a mind game. Discordance is going to allow me where to go 100%. So if one person's working on a Jenny through Thrilling Tremor, and then 2 people are working on a Jenny, I'm obviously going to go to where the 2 people are for the Pop Goes the Weasel kick, unless that one person is going to break up a plausible 3-gen strat and I haven't got anybody dead. That's the only reason I would look at trading to the other generator. So this is going to give me mass situational awareness of where to teleport. Remember, I can teleport on demand with probably about a 10, oh, it's probably a bit more than a 10 second, with like a 15, 20 second cooldown, okay? I can go there if I choose to, just like that, the click of my fingers. I can bait it, I can try and, I generally do it in chase as well. If I'm chasing a guy who's hurt, I will make it look like I'm teleporting to a generator to get them off the generator, to then put a trap on the ground, to then hide my light, to twist around a corner, to get him to step in the trap, to then M1 him. Yes, it's very complicated, but if you can kind of anticipate all these kind of plays, Freddy becomes a lethal weapon. If you force a survivor to step in the blood, they will slow down. Generally place it close to a jungle gym. Not too close, but close enough to the left where a survivor can't squeeze past. A lot of survivors will try and sidestep the pool, and if they do that, you'll be able to lunge hit them through the pallet. If you're lucky, you'll hit them and take a pallet stun and get the free pallet, and then you can teleport across the board. Freddy is very big about split pressure. Hitting a target, letting him go, then going elsewhere. You overcommit to a tunnel, you overcommit to a chase, especially if you've lost Ruin, you're going to be in trouble. If you can hit multiple different targets and then keep your pressure throughout the board, you're going to be in a much better spot. You can also run Infectious Fright, because even though it doesn't say, Freddy has a 32-meter heartbeat. That being said, people can only see it or hear it while they're asleep, while they're not asleep. If you're running Tinkerer, it's gone as well. Keep that in mind. But if survivors are asleep, they can't hear the heartbeat. If I down Jeff and the other guys scream with Infectious Fright, they know they're within 32 meters, but they don't know how close in the 32 meters they actually are unless they see the aura of the guy on the ground. That kind of could hurt you with Infectious Fright on Freddy, but at the same time, it could be very rewarding if you were running something like Knockout, but now you're looking at multiple builds based on that. So currently, like I said, this is my personal build, my favorite. We've got Ruin, we've got Pop, we've got Thrilling Tremor, we've got Discordance. Alternatively, we could trade out a couple of things. I think Discordance is very crucial, especially because you can bait teleports to the Jenny to get survivors off. If I had to get rid of something out of this build to keep this build a solid 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10, I would get rid of Thrilling Tremor for Save the Best for Last or Sloppy Butcher. I would keep on Discordance. Very, very, very rarely would I take this perk out because of the mass amount of information it provides. Alternatively, you can look at the build I run on Spirit and run that on Freddy and have that be quite handy as well. And you might be wondering what that build is. It is Haunted Ground, Devour Hope, Pop Goes the Weasel, and Thrilling Tremor. This is going to be disgustingly devastating throughout the entire board. Keep in mind, you can teleport away from a Jenny just like that, and the guy gets hook saved, and you get a token token of Devour Hope straight away. I was running Devour Hope with Tinkerer on Freddy not too long ago, and I was doing phenomenally good with it. People were just getting really frustrated with the ability of coming around the corner while they're working on a generator and just M1ing them straight away because they thought I'd be teleporting into the Jenny, but I teleported to a neighboring Jenny, and then I came up through Tinkerer and M1'd him down with tier 3. I did it multiple times. It's very, very powerful. You can also teleport away with Make Your Choice and come back with Make Your Choice. You could have walked away, then teleport back in, and then hit your target with Make Your Choice. Freddy has a lot of amazing choices that he can work with. Because I told you Freddy is so heavily reliant on split pressure and different hits on different targets in different areas, finally I'm going to point out another amazing perk on him, which is Save the Best for Last. Save the Best for Last is going to allow you to hit a guy and then recover 5% quicker, up to a maximum of 8 stacks. At 8 stacks, you recover 40% quicker. If you had 8 stacks and you hit Jeff, go straight after Jeff. You're going to be able to go get another hit on him. Keep in mind, whatever tokens you have after you hit the survivor is how many you recover from. For example, if I have 5 tokens and I hit Jeff, I now have 6 tokens. I then recover 30% quicker. I don't recover 25% quicker. I recover off what's left. If Jeff was my obsession, I have 8 tokens and I hit Jeff, I recover off 6 tokens, not 8, because it's how many tokens are left after the end of the animation of the successful hit. People didn't understand that, and I just wanted to clear that up with you guys as well. You will see people running Thanophobia, Sloppy Butcher on Freddy. There's something people refer to as Infinite Freddy. I don't agree with it. I don't call it Infinite Freddy. I just call it Pain in the Ass Freddy. And it's basically these 2 add-ons. What do these do? They do not say they stack, but you bet your bottom dollar they certainly do stack. So we're going to show you right here. This can be absolutely torment for the survivors, okay? I'm just looking for a perk here called Dying Light as well, and there it is. This can be absolute torment and torture for a survivor. Basically, what does this allow this to happen? For each survivor asleep in the dream world, there is a slight penalty towards how long generators take to do. Multiple people in there means there's a multiple penalty, all the way up to tremendous penalty. You can have a tremendous penalty if everybody is asleep. Now they have to run around the board and wake up, or miss skill checks and wake up. This also stacks with considerably decreased repair speed, healing speed, etc, etc. These 2 stack together. Now you're looking at, that's something stupid like 30% slower work. On top of that, you have Dying Light for a massive penalty as well. For each person hooked, you can get a total of, 12% out of Dying Light? You can get a lot. And now you got Thanophobia at 16%. You're now looking at something stupid. You can end up making a generator not take 80 seconds, but make it take almost 160 seconds to do. Almost 100. Can you imagine trying to do a Jenny for almost 160 seconds against Ruin just to have Freddy come around the corner and hit it with Pop Goes the Weasel? You'd be so sad. I'd be sad. Alternatively, you could look at something like this. This here allows... This is a pain in the ass, actually. All survivors start the trial asleep. Failed skill checks will not wake a survivor up. Now they have to run around and look for the boxes. This being said, there will be multiple boxes on the board, but only one will wake a survivor up, and they know which one it is, so they won't have to search them randomly like a pig. This being said, massive penalty to everyone. Everyone will be asleep for majority of the game, and because of that, you're going to have this built in. This is pretty much built-in Ruin as well. So that there is by far one of the most devastating combos you can come across on Freddy. I agree with how strong it is. I also agree with the fact behavior made it a pink and purple add-on combo, as opposed to looking at a Billy with Tuning Guide Thompson mix, which is what is a green and a green, or Tuning Guide Primer Bulb, or Thompson mix Primer Bulb, which is a green and a yellow. Do you know what I mean? That shit is too strong for the fact that it isn't purple and red, as opposed to this here is red and purple. I agree with how high up tier it is. It's very hard to kind of verse. There are some other honorable mentions to point out here, such as you've got blindness, you've got survivors heal slower as well, so if you want to stack Sloppy Butcher equivalent by running an add-on for it and looking at running Save the Best for Last, a bit of counterintuitive on yourself there, you can make that work also. There are quite a number of things here. When a survivor slams a pallet that's fake, their aura is revealed to you, so there's a lot you can work with. Personally, I don't really like this kind of Freddy build. I like what I recommended earlier, which would have been more leaning towards information. Information's what wins games, guys. Even without Ruin in here, you could replace this with Corrupt Intervention and then go straight towards people. The only reason I have Ruin on over Corrupt is at the beginning of the game, Freddy needs to charge his ability before he can teleport, and because of that, I don't want 4 people spawning in a corner map, getting a Jenny done in like 26 seconds, and me not being able to get over there because I can't teleport because I spawned on the opposite end of Hattonfield. I'd rather have Ruin just to stop that from happening as well. If Ruin goes in 10 seconds, it doesn't matter, because this here is what comes into play and makes makes Freddy very, very devastating. Keep in mind, I'm going to walk through every freaking pallet, even without enduring, unless I think I can mind game it. And there are a lot of pallets I think I can mind game. I'd still probably walk into it though, and if you were silly enough to wait at the opposite end of it, I would try and put 2 traps, boom, boom, and then run around and make sure I got the hit on you also. So it can be very devastating to try and verse. Freddy is lethal, especially when he places 1 trap and goes through a pallet after you. 1 trap, pallet, 1 trap, pallet. That's how you're meant to play Freddy, in my opinion. Unlike people that play Clown, which, you know, try and hide their light, bait, twist camera, and come around into a bottle. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't want to do that as Freddy. You want to put a trap down, you want to maybe hide your light for half a second, and then run in a straight line at the guy. You get the pallet, you don't get the pallet. That's how it works. You gotta be fast with it. If Ruin is still on the board, get as many freaking pallets as you can. As many pallets as you can. That does not mean commit to a tunnel. If you're committing to a tunnel through the middle of Blood Lodge, and there's like 6 or 7 pallets, and the guy isn't dropping them first throw, maybe consider going elsewhere unless you got a hit. Do not look to bloodlust him, just look to get a free hit or a free pallet, then teleport away based off information through discordance or seeing multiple targets. That'll also be good for you. If you're chasing him and you realize you're going to be able to teleport to the bottom right hand corner of the map in 5-6 seconds, keep chasing him for 5 or 6 seconds, get a free hit, get a free pallet, then teleport to the bottom of the map. Don't just stop, don't start running towards it and then try and teleport to it to bait them to run into you. That is an okay play, but wouldn't it be better to get value out of the center of the board? If the other guy was at the shack in the corner of the map where there's no other jungle gyms and an exit gate, then yes, I understand you trying to get the shack pallet. If he's at the shack in the corner of the map with no exit gate, why are you there? There's 1 generator. Let the generator go and then play off what is left on the board, or, you know, down somebody and know that that guy's been over there for 40 seconds so you can teleport back with Pop Goes the Weasel and then come back if you know, catch somebody in 30 seconds with another pop. Now you've kept that guy stuck there the entire game while the other 2 have been on hooks, so he hasn't been able to complete the Jenny. There's a lot of ways you can make Freddy work really, really powerfully, especially being able to teleport it throughout the board. The strongest thing though is not the teleportation, the ability to teleport or not teleport. You can bait it. And that really, really throws a lot of people off, because I might bait it once, bait it twice, bait it 3 times, then actually come in, depending on if I'm in chase or not. I might just go in first try if I think I got Pop Goes the Weasel. If I can't find anyone, sure. You know, there's a lot of different plays, but keep in mind, every time you bait it, it goes back a couple of seconds, so you can bait maybe 5 or 6 seconds later, as opposed to if you actually teleport in, you won't be able to do it for 20 plus seconds or something. So baiting is generally the best way to play that. Also depends on the map. If the survivor's in the open, survivor's in a confined little room, you know, there's no pallets for them to use, no windows. If he's in the corner of the map where he needs sprint burst to get away without taking an M1. Anyways, guys, that's going to be all for Freddy Krueger and why I recommend him to a lot of players. I put him in 4th best killer place. Sorry, the most important thing I never pointed out. While a survivor is asleep, they can't borrowed time save. You heard me. If they save Jeff off the hook, you could just down Jeff straight away, provided the survivor who saved was asleep. If the survivor is saving while not asleep, M1 him. And if he finished the animation as you M1'd him, Jeff won't have borrowed time because that other guy would be asleep. The asleep applies instantly. So Freddy is a complete built-in counter to BT. Yes, it allows him to tunnel, blah, 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 but you shouldn't be looking at that. You should be looking at the fact that Dwight's coming to the basement for a BT save on a guy who has DS. You hit Dwight, you come all the way in, Jeff just gets unhooked, you down Jeff because you know Jeff's going to have DS. You leave Jeff slugged on the ground. Then you go for Dwight. Now you've got Jeff wasting his BT, Dwight and Chase. Now Nia has to come and save Jeff from the basement while one other guy could possibly be working on a Jenny. Now, worst case scenario is you lose 1 gen, as opposed to you lose 2-3 gens. See how that works out really well? That makes Freddy, and that is one of the reasons I put him so high in the tier list. Almost every really decent survivor will be running BT, and you're just countering a perk like that, provided they're asleep. If they're awake, you don't counter it. That being said, it just means you're versing 3 perks. He has DS, you're versing 2 perks. He has Adrenaline as well, you're versing 1 perk, which will probably be Dead Hard or Balanced Landing or Iron Will. So you can easily just remove Survivor's builds altogether, so keep that in mind. Alrighty guys, so yes, yet again, that is why I put Freddy in the 4th best killer spot in the game. I think he is phenomenally strong. He has a huge skill gap. He's quite easy to play, but at the same time, very good players can play him really rewardingly, much like the Billy. I don't think he's not meta. I think he's pretty meta nowadays because a lot of people are realizing his true potential. But that being said, if you want to be a really good Freddy, practice your placement with your dream snares, not your pallets. Don't even worry about dream pallets. 1 snare, 1 pallet. That's all you have to do. That's the trade you should be doing. If it's a really good pallet, I can understand putting multiple snares, but keep in mind it takes about 0.5 seconds to put a blood snare on the ground. Alrighty guys, GG, well played, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Hope you enjoyed.